Okay, so just to recap. So what we've discovered is that when we have 3 GoPros and we have a remote, everything works perfectly fine. Absolutely no problem. It starts and stops, powers up, powers down. Everything is perfectly as you would expect. Okay, then what we find is if we power up one of these, we power one of them via external power, and I'm tried all these different ones, and I'm actually running off this one now, but we've got 2 different types. But the same thing happens with every power supply. If we run them off external power, if we run one off external power and we control it, everything works perfectly fine. It's exactly how to expect. It turns off, turns on. I've done this more than 10 times. It actually is fine. When we connect the second one with external power, then what happens is that when you power up with the remote, it powers up, but then both these cameras, and you can do it with 3 as well, but as soon as you do more than one, both these cameras or 3 series cameras will power up via the remote, and they'll all turn their Wi-Fi off, which then means you can't control it anymore. Now, if that happens, I can then go in and manually turn the Wi-Fi back on again, and I can start and stop all 3 cameras and start and stop to my heart's content. And I can turn them off. And then once I turn them back on again, all 3 of them will turn their Wi-Fi off. But if we only have one camera powered by power, then that never happens. It's perfect, works every single time. So it's so weird. As soon as we introduce a second one that's powered and a third one that's powered, then that's when the problem happens. If we eliminate this, it's perfect. If we introduce these and unplug this, it's perfect. If we plug this in and we plug this in, that's when the problem happens. And I'll plug these in and I'll demonstrate that now. Okay, so I've got 2 cameras now powered externally. And you can see that they're both charging, and that one's blinking blue. This one is not blinking blue, so let me just turn that on. Wi-Fi on, okay, Wi-Fi on. Okay, so that one's still not blinking blue. Let's plug that in again. Okay, so it's got power. Why is it not coming up? There we go. Wi-Fi on. Okay, so Wi-Fi's on. Okay, so okay, so they're both blinking blue. Okay, so we now bring the remote control in, power up. Okay, so now you can see that so the remote control powered this up, but you can see there the Wi-Fi's turned off. Now, what's actually interesting is this one, which is the first time I've seen this actually. This one it hasn't. This one it actually is still powered up. It actually has got the Wi-Fi on, but that's a very rare occurrence. That usually doesn't work. And of course, you can see that's now controlled by the remote. And if I turn this back on, you can see the Wi-Fi is back on there now. 2 cameras, okay. They're both now talking to the remote. Okay, I'm going to turn them both off again. Okay, so they've both got blue blinking lights. We'll power them up. Okay, so they both powered up as you'd expect. But here you go, that's it. See, that one's has not come up. So that's the Wi-Fi's turned off. So this is interesting. So this one is now not doing it. So it's charging. This is running off. That's running off that there. The other one's running off this one here. So for whatever reason now, this one doesn't seem to have the problem. Let's plug in the third one and see what happens. Well, actually, before we do that, let's not plug it in and we'll power it up without being plugged in and see what happens. Okay, so we've got 2 cam. Power it up. Let's see if it gets 3. Okay, 3 cam. Okay, so this one's not powered up, as you can see. Let's just see what happens when we do this. Okay, so they all turned off. Okay, and then we'll power them up. Okay, so they all power up. That one is now working correctly. That's working correctly. And this one's not. Okay, now let's watch this. Let's take that out. Oh, that's because I haven't got a battery in it, you dickhead. Sorry. Okay, my bad. Put that in. Okay. Okay, so they're all flashing now. They've all got Wi-Fi on. Okay, so that, okay. So that now doesn't have Wi-Fi. Turn Wi-Fi on, okay. So we've got Wi-Fi on, Wi-Fi on, Wi-Fi on. 2 powered, 1's not powered. Remote. Okay, so they all turn off. Okay, turn them on. They all turn on. Okay, so this one has now lost its Wi-Fi. This one hasn't. This one hasn't. Okay, let's power this last one up via external power. Okay, so they're all now running on external power. Let's just double check that. So that's running off that, which is put into there, yes. And yep, so that is now showing it's charging. Okay. Okay, so in fact, okay, I think I'll just work this out. I actually don't think it has anything to do with the remote control. When I plug that power in, we just lost the Wi-Fi. That was on before, and now it's not. By plugging that in, it's turned it off. Turn it on. Turn it on. on, so they're all on. Okay, so they all turn off as you expect. Okay, no Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi. So this time they've all powered up via the remote control, and they have all turned their Wi-Fi off. So when you have 3 powered up with external power, they all turn the Wi-Fi. When you only have 2 powered up and 1 unpowered, seems that maybe it kind of works. This one seemed to have this one did seem to work okay. But then certainly when we do 3, then all these Wi-Fis are turned off. And if I turn them back on again, 2 camera, 3 camera, they're all there. So it's not to do with them not being able to communicate when they're externally powered. Like they're starting and stopping. There you go. They're all talking to it perfectly well. They're all recording there. Stop recording. Power down. So they can all talk to the remote when they're external power. It's just this is the problem. This is the problem that's going to happen right now, is that we turn them on. They all turn on. So they're all, even though they're externally powered, they all power up. So they're talking to the remote. But you'll find every one of them now, yep, there it is, off, off, off. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll unplug them and we'll turn the Wi-Fi on. And this is the test that I've done 25 times in a row. And now, without any power connected, they will never fail. They'll turn on, they'll turn off, they'll go into record, they'll stop recording. They'll be absolutely perfect. Yep. Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi. Into record mode, out of record mode. So without those power supplies, and I've done this test with these as well, and these I've got 2. These are 2 Samsung units. That's an Apple, and that's probably a generic. So they're all different. So it's not to do with a dodgy power supply. I can appreciate that maybe there's noise in one of the power supplies, and that's causing interference and blah blah blah. That kind of idea, but you know, we're running off these power packs here now, 2 separate power packs. Exactly the same thing happens. There is a thing, I reckon it's in the firmware, it's a bug in the firmware, that when you're running external power, there is a bug that is turning the Wi-Fi off once you go to external power. And it's a problem with the code that is saying that once there's external power and we power up, the Wi-Fi gets turned off. Or maybe it's a load thing. Maybe there's too much load or something. But well, it can't be that, can it? Because we've proven that when you connect just one of them, it's perfect. Just one connected with power, it absolutely works perfect. So it's not a load problem. It's not a problem with it not being able to communicate when it's got a USB. It's when we add the second, and even when we add the second, that one kind of works. That didn't seem to drop out. But when we add the third, then none of them work. All of them drop out. So yeah, hopefully that will give you enough to go on. Okay, bye.